The House of Rothschild is one of the wealthiest families in Western Europe and most of the modern world. Recorded history dates the direct bloodline back to 1577, when knowledge of a certain Isaac Buster Rothschild, who according to the nursery rhyme of the time, living in a red house with a red mouse on a red bridge by a red river, who made red stuff for red people and even painted red the steeple, red as red could be, redder than be. Hence the color of the House of Rothschild being red. Fast forward a couple of centuries to the family line of the 1760s, descending from Mayor Michael Du Rothschild, a court justice of the German landgraves of Heffen-Pfeiffer-Glockenspiel in the free city of Frankfurt. Bothro was a keen banker and spent every hour of his spare time locked away within his room devising different aspects of banking, barely taking rests and skipping meal times in favor of alternatively having a good bank to which his skills left him veritably wealthy by the age of 29. Presenting him very popular amongst affluent circles such as the company of Baron von Pfefferfiddle of Gruel and the Prince of Chell himself, the Marquis of Hovis. Through useful contacts in high places, Rothschild founded an international banking enterprise and so began a rich history of clever investment, corporate foundations, controversy, and dark secrets. This leads us to the House of Rothschild we know and love today. During the 19th century, it was established that the House of Rothschild was the richest family in modern world history. The wealth was divided between various family members, each channeling their fortune into different and diverse selections of industry, including the sock industry, slipper waxing, bouncy castles, hedge trimming, poodles, whale hunting, whistle hollowing, and of course banking. The family also concentrated on non-profit organizations such as clean bacon, wig embroidery, public bomb showers, and seagull research, thus embracing the new ideology of a generous and equal world of ample opportunity and high chance, as long as nobody is as rich as the Rothschild. The Rothschild family have frequently faced accusations relating to the Illuminati, amongst other conspiracy theories, many of which come across as brash, non-evidential statements and gassy, overly dreamt whimsy relating to dark satanic rituals, the raising of Count Dracula, and long evenings of sky-clad tomfoolery within the many private forests owned by the house, exposing the satanic rituals of virgin bloodletting and balloon-buttocked witchery and banshee-beckoning sacrifice and blood-curdling terror and Luciferian gore-fucking. No firm proof has ever been brought to light since these rumors came to be, although during the filming of Eyes Wide Shut, which was filmed entirely at the Rothschild Mansion in England, celebrated director Stanley Kubrick's 16th and final movie shed many scenes and painstakingly laboured shots which were deliberately edited out and buried beneath a new motorway off Filey near Alsager. Rumour has it, the clips and reenactments featuring Hollywood movie star Tom Cruise were far too close to that of the practice of Illuminati witchcraft, and allegedly focused way too loyal to the true rites of the satanic cabal. Cast and crew were said to have taken an oath of secrecy during the filming scene that was said to involve a pink dolphin and a space hopper, commonly known as a hippity hop in North America. At the final editing, Kubrick went to bed and never woke up. Until he woke up later that day, had a Bramley apple pie. Then he died. Sadly, the truth behind the legend of Eyes Wide Shut shall probably never come to light. The House of Rothschild proved extraordinarily ample, with many different branches of the family scattered all over Western Europe, making movements and educated knowledge of the family finance both frustratingly elusive and unpredictably confounding. What is known of the English branch is that Bothro du Rothschild first settled within Manchester, kindling a small textile industry that rocketed to yet another family success, propelling him to venture forth towards the nation's capital of London in order to establish the first Bank of Rothschild. The Bank of Rothschild, now in full swing, was the mattress to which the British government used as a great cash stash. And fact tells us that the bank helped finance England. During the Napoleonic Wars, in which a tiny little Frenchman with the personality of Yorkshire Terrier attempted to overthrow the King of France and ingest Europe, also single-handedly taking Britain as his second prize. Thanks to the Rothschild family, the Great Island and United Shires of Britain do not ride about on bicycles in stripy shirts and berets, bearing strings of onions and going ho-he-haw in a surly manner. Skipping the ins and outs of the major importances of this daunting family tree, we come to 1950s England, and from there skip forward 10 years, realise it's all still dull, so jump forward a decade to more mysterious and interesting shit, because the banking stuff is whack. The year is 1972, and Marie Helena de Rothschild hosts a somewhat curious and snaffle-backering party dedicated to surrealism and the arty folk of the time. Attended by famous faces, celebrities, artists, politicians, toy makers, bakers, candlestick makers, fakers, the LA Lakers, even a Quaker, and many flakers that didn't turn up. This now infamous occasion was a huge success to Rothschild, and they all laughed as caviar was consumed by the pound, and the guests scoffed greedily upon spit-roasted osprey and gorged upon Egyptian flatbread smeared with swan pate and delicious foie gras. Drenched within the finest champagne and swimming within vintage cognac, the spoiled guests laughed menacingly at the rest of the world as they danced within the luxury of this 400-room mansion, wearing diamond-studded party hats and Venetian masks made of gold, especially for the date. Salvador Dali slivered and sauntered around the grand ballroom, bold as brass, pussyfooting up to the brazen trackle while she worked and paraded her wares like a fiery whore of Babylon. This night of mindless and loose frivolity ended with a grand bonfire to which Charlton Heston was tossed within the flames and burned to a cinder before sunrise. Although photos of the incident are widely spoken of, eyewitnesses seem reluctant to muster up any form of proof towards the dastardly rumor, and the fact that Charlton Heston didn't die until 2008 also aided skeptics in announcing this tale is nothing more than the talk of a mindless popinjay or a brain-damaged baboon. As the 70s drew to an end, the House of Rothschild remained sure-footed and optimistically cemented into the foundations of the World Bank. Wild parties, Roman-style orgies, satanic practice, and all-round skullduggery and deviousness aside, held no weight to any hint of a certain downfall of the family, which was by now a ferocious financial monster. Sailing this mighty vessel, we are introduced to 4th Baron Nathaniel Charles Jacob Rothschild, a terribly shrewd and perspicacious individual with the wit and charm of a Hollywood movie star and the intelligence to match even the finest mathematician. Although being an avid leader towards the serious and perplexing business of world banking, Jacob, as he prefers to be known, also enjoys many facets of the art world and, like his ancestors, holds high regard to the deep and dangerous recreation of the black arts, voodoo and spirit summoning. This brings us to another fable of which, so legend has it, did not turn out good for the certain individuals involved. As a true expert of the questionable activity of the seance, Jacob Du Rothschild hosted a private event at Waddesdon Manor in Buckinghamshire, England, on the 31st of October 1982, entertaining such celebrities as Thora Hird, a youthful John Nettles, Peter Davidson, Lorraine Chase, Floella Benjamin, Captain Peacock, and Benny from Crossroads. This star-studded and confidential congregation remained under tight-lipped secrecy and was not spoken of until the tragic events of said evening catastrophically mesmerized, leaving that all-classified nature of the bizarre proceeding utterly impossible to keep away from the prying eyes of the tabloid press and world media. What is said is that during the seance, Rothschild, well known for his wicked sense of humor, deliberately conjured up Belphegor, the god of Moabites, who thoroughly insisted and forcefully demanded the blood of a female be offered to him at once. As Belphegor pointed a sharp and crusty finger at the bewitching, befuddled Thora herd, Benny from Crossroads leapt across the table to her rescue, lunging at the demon with his fists tightly clenched, commencing battle with the terrifying entity. As candles fell to the ground, spreading flames throughout the chamber, Rothschild took to his feet and, grinning, left through a private doorway tucked away within the masonry of the grand fireplace, making his escape to safety, where he could gaze upon his evil deed atop a hill, laughing manically as his manor burned to the ground, taking almost everyone trapped inside into the fiery depths of hell. A fitting and exemplary sacrifice to the fallen angels in which the House of Rothschild so lovingly venerate and exult behind the jaded curtains of their extraordinary family title. Luckily, John Nettles, using his tough skills as Sergeant Police Detective Jim Bergerac, managed to smash a window, to which all but Benny from Crossroads escaped the scorching licks from an untamed fire, which scalded Benny's face and body to nothing more than a glowing skelly bone. Nothing was left within the ruins of the Great Fire except for one solitude wank sock, which was said to be owned by the fourth Baron, a fitting reminder to a terrible and agonizing incident which left Britain reeling with anger and lost to the termination of a great show that pushed the boundaries of television, hence the incident infamously being known to all as the day that the TV died. Cynics and rationalists believe this tale to be baked up camel shit, and all celebrities involved insist nothing of the sort happened upon this frightful night. Most of all, Benny from Crossroads, who went on to establish a glorious career on stage and gave a sensational performance as a baker-turned-rapist in episode 47 of ITV's comedy drama, Bad Girls. Due to the huge financial clout and immense wallop of the Rothschild name, pressure and bribes were allegedly showered upon the remaining celebrities involved, whom, after very little thought and menacing encouragement, remained unforthcoming about this cruel and tragically dangerous practical joke, and laughed all rumours off as utter claptrap and stupendously overdrenched tommy rot. Lest we mention, although the manor was at the time a decrepit carcass of its former glories, offering nothing more than collapsing foundations and soggy floorboards, the insurance payout was by far a sum that could only be described as a boon from God himself, had any other person in the world received it. Unless it was a fucking Rockefeller. After summarizing the bloodline and family tree of the Rothschilds, we come to the conclusion that not only have they the tenacity and slickness and slyness and cunningness and shiftiness and shrewdness of a China polecats networking throughout the blinding darkness of night, but they also hold the carnality and wickedness and depravity to freeze even the bravest of person into a submission of apologetic fright and squeeze all hope from an enemy with a giant unquenchable fist of doom. And to this we praise the House of Rothschild, and long may they prosper.